Hey,
Oh,
how
there
are
she
you?
is. Hi there, Teresa. I sensed you might be joining me, but that's largely by virtue of a modern marvel that is the internet. But it's great to see you.
So nice to see you. Thank you so much for having me today.
Okay, so I guess walk me through what you feel again when you're making these connections to those who have departed us.
Sure. So what happens is as I start to give my speech to the audience, spirit starts to clear out my own personal thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and they start to replace them with signs and symbols of things that I've experienced here in the physical world to be able to relay messages to them. Spirit will make me feel the bond and relationship that they shared with the person. They will also bring me through their departure. They will make me feel what it was like when they died. So if they had, say, they passed of a heart attack, I'll literally feel like my chest is being labored and my breathing. Sometimes I'll feel a pain in the back of my head. They're just things that spirit makes me feel to validate that they are not suffering on the other side and not wanting their loved ones to remember them sick or suffering.
When you were sharing, telling people, hey, I'm feeling this way. Kind of, sensing this.
Mm-hmm.
How did people kind of react?
Well, it's so interesting because I don't know if you've ever seen Long Island Medium, but when I'm out and about in my everyday world, and it's just like when you come to my live show, I come out on the stage, I give a speech, and then I'm down in the audience. Spirit guides me around the space. I just stop in front of someone, and it's so funny that I will stand in front of someone and I'll say, "Who is the father figure for you that's departed?" Spirit will labor my breathing, and they'll look at me like a deer in headlights, and they're like, it's almost like what? And then I'm like, they're like, no. And I'm like, did your dad pass? They're like, yeah. I'm like, did he pass of a heart attack? They're like, yeah. But it's because it's so shocking. But I learned a long time ago that this honestly has nothing to do with me. This has to do with spirit using my physical body as a vessel to reach their loved ones. And I struggled. One of the things that I struggled with my gift was because I couldn't understand why someone would want to come and see a medium. Like, why is someone going to want to come and speak to their loved ones that have died? And what I started to understand was that unfortunately, no matter who we lose or how they die, we here in the physical world are left with burdens and guilt. We might be left with maybe a should have, a could have, and only if. And at the end of the day, these negative emotions do not give us the ability to heal. So that's why I say to everyone, spirit is here to give us what we need, not what we want. And they're going to be things that you're not expecting spirit to bring up and talk about, because I need them to validate it with such unique things that you would never expect them to talk about. And more importantly, that I can find out or know about.
You mentioned, your faith. You are a practicing Catholic, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that kind of figure in and kind of square with your abilities and what you experience?
So with everything in life, I take what works for me. The things that I don't work for me, then I just let go of. And I learned that my gift, I was born this way. My gift comes from God. And when I put my gift in God's hands, I said, you open up every door and I will walk through it. And here I am 20 years later. You have to understand, I couldn't leave my house 25 years ago. I was so crippled with anxiety because I feel the souls. I feel the way that they died. I'm empathic. And I was taking all of these emotions on and not knowing how to filter it and understand it. And here I am now. For the next 9 weeks, I'm living on a tour bus. So, I just know that my gift comes from a higher power. And I consider it an honor and a privilege to do the work that I do.
Watching your work over the years, one thing that really shines through is the fact that you make people feel good. Death is such an overwhelming, such an inescapable part of our experience
right
here on Earth. And where people feel a void, you manage to find a way to bring comfort. What's that like for you?
It's the most amazing feeling because I know it's the craziest thing that what I do. And the first one to say that what I do is crazy, but I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else. And the knowing that someone was coming because they might not know how to embrace life after the loss of a loved one, or they want to stop living. They don't know what to do. They might not get married, or they don't pursue a career because they're afraid their loved ones are missing out. To be able to give someone that peace and knowing that their loved ones are with them is just the most incredible thing.
Yeah. And I mean, you've provided so many, really touching experiences, powerful experiences. What's one of the most powerful, or one of your favorite experiences? I know there are just so many, but
there's so many. I mean, just like last night, there was a guy sitting in my audience. He had, he's in the theater. He's got a hood over his head. He's sitting with a sweatshirt. He's like this. And his dad comes through and changes his life. 5 minutes later, he's crying and releasing all of this emotion, or is it the 7-year-old little boy that I read that lost his dad? I mean, that was so hard. I mean, it's what I make what I do look so easy, and it's not. It's the hardest thing that I have to do, is to stand in front of someone and feel their pain, their sorrow, their loss, and their grief. And then in the next moment, have them laugh or say something that brings a smile to their face. The little boy last night, his dad had died, and his dad's talking about how he loves to eat Doritos, how he's having trouble with math, and he had a problem with a friend at school. And the kid is going, "How do you know that?" And then for his dad to acknowledge this beautiful thing that he wrote about his dad for school, and to see that little boy light up and know that his dad was still watching over him was incredible.
Wow. I mean, it's astonishing. And I have followed your work over the years and all of that. And I know, just how special, some of those moments truly are. It's so powerful. And so I guess, I already just only have a couple more questions for you too. We've run through this pretty quickly. I guess, getting to, being here at the Mayo Civic Center next week. So what can folks expect when you do come to the Mayo Civic Center next week?
Well, I always say I'll show up with my hair and my nails done, great dress, and fabulous shoes. I'll come out on the stage. I'll give a little quick speech on how I read, communicate with the souls of the departed. And then the second I start sensing and feeling things, I am off of that stage, and spirit will guide me around that theater, stop in front of someone, and deliver life-changing healing messages for them. And look, I'm the first one to say that what I do is absolutely crazy. There's no way that someone can communicate with someone that has died. And there might be common things that spirit might talk about and refer to. But the amazing thing that blows my mind every time I channel spirit is that with the unique validations to that person. And it's there things that they're not expecting, things that happened years ago. They might bring up, they might talk about things that have happened since they've died. They might talk about things that you haven't shared with anyone else here in the physical world, things that you've said in your own personal thoughts and prayers. And it just validates that if they know that, they hear you. They are with you, living life through your eyes. That's why they don't want us to live in pain and sorrow, knowing that with every breath that we take and every smile and every adventure, they are with us in spirit.
Do you have any sort of message for people out there, kids, adults, anyone who feels different, feels like, they have these other experiences or have these other components of their own lives and, struggle with how they fit into society?
Right. And that's one of the reasons why I share my gift on how I felt growing up as a child, because I do believe that we're all born a certain way. And it's up to us to find that, to find what really makes us feel complete and to happy. And whoever decided what normal is, that's what I want to know. Because to me, talking to dead people is normal. But that, so we have to find that. And as long as we feel complete, and I always say to everyone also, with healing and grieving, especially, as long as we're not harming ourselves or anyone else, then you heal and grieve the loss of your loved one the way that you feel that you need to, the way that you feel you need to honor them and love them.